So many people do.
I'm gonna start recording this because this shit's getting good.
No.
We're recording out, motherfucker. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Throwing Tantrums. These guys are being so stupid right now. We hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of meeting some of the members. I'm Emeroy, your co-host, one of the founders of Temper Tantrum, dancer, your mom's lover, and whatnot, owner of a social media company. That's me. I'm just gonna throw the intros real quick because I know Brandon's waiting for this. Next up is fucking Brandon. I know you fucking have been waiting for that shit. You guys aren't seeing it right now, but he had made a special intro. He just came from his elevator, from his cave of cars, his bat cave, his Brandon cave.
The red room.
His red room.
Hi guys, it's Brandon Berciaga, dancer, artistic director of Temper Tantrum, annoying skinny guy. That's me.
You post nudes on his Instagram if you want to check that out.
Yeah, but you gotta pay to play.
Brandon fans.
$5.
All right, and next up is Diego. You met him already, so that's it. So next up, I'm just kidding, Diego.
I mean, what else do I say? I mean, if they saw the first one, they saw, all right, what's up, guys? My name is Diego Tejas, just like all the rest of them.
Yeah.
Dancer, motivational speaker on the weekends. On Tuesdays, I like to ride my bike. On Wednesdays, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just Diego. How's it going?
And these two that you haven't seen ever because they have no talent. I don't know how they got on here. I think they just hacked onto the Zoom, but I think we let them dance with us sometime. So we're gonna start off with Krystle. A little bit about you, your name, how long you've been dancing, occupation, marital status, and all that.
Damn.
Wow.
That's
Was
cool.
that slash pimping her out or what?
I love and hate you so much. So Krystle Vergara, I am also one of the directors for Temper Tantrum. I've been dancing for, I would say probably over 16 years. And I'm an accountant and I have a 4-year-old and that's it.
So if you guys can handle kids, talk.
Check her out.
Wow.
All right, next up is Leighlyn. I just said your name. I fucked up your intro. Same thing. Go ahead.
Do that again.
No,
I had an amazing
intro.
intro.
Just go.
Do that again. Hi, everybody. I'm Leighlyn Tan. I am a dancer as well and a medical assistant. Recently, a private nurse, and now
making all those Filipino moms and titas proud.
Mm-hmm.
Ew.
That's my girl, huh?
No, I just need money. Pay bills.
Real talk.
Don't we
My
all?
hobby.
Don't we all?
The last video, the last one, I swear you all had so much to say for your intros and we're just like, boop, boop.
I know. Now I'm like,
Stop comparing yourself to the past, because the past
my hands
is
are
gone,
cold.
guys. All right, so anyways, before we were just shooting the shit in terms of topics, something that I guess not all these guys knew about was Cirque du Soleil filing for bankruptcy. So which is huge because I think that's one of the biggest opportunities as a performing artist to be on, and to see that kind of established kind of entity file for bankruptcy shows how bad the whole coronavirus COVID-19 is affecting the arts. And I talk a lot. I have several other podcasts, but I want to hear what you guys think about the whole pandemic affecting the arts. You don't need to raise your hand, just talk.
I feel like I do, or we'll talk over each other. I'm curious to see how Vegas is going to handle that because
2 hours
so
later.
many heavily saturated Cirque shows there. I feel like it really brings in a lot of income for the city, and that's just going to suck. But for dancers, I know I always had hopes of becoming a Cirque performer, and tons of people in the community aspire for that. So without it, what are people really working towards now as performers?
I mean, it's hard. So if you think about the term bankruptcy, it's has a negative connotation to it, and it's
True.
very like, oh no. But like, didn't our president have a few businesses that went bankrupt? And he's the president. But then also, like, you have to keep in mind too, is that bankruptcy is just like a bad time for certain
Like
things.
a
Doesn't mean that it's
blanket.
gone completely. You know, places have gone bankrupt and then came back. It's just that like, hey, right now is a shitty time, so we have to go
Have
bankrupt.
to.
And I think it's just the idea and the concept and the connotation connected to that word of like, and yeah, it's a gasp moment, but I think we have to kind of, I don't know, think about the positives. I'm always trying to think about the positives. And for me, it's
Yeah.
like, hey, yeah, that show is gone for now, but what's the use of it doing now when we can't even go to the gym or can't
Yeah,
even go
and
to, you know, like it makes no difference whether they're bankrupt right now or not because nobody can perform.
true. And I wonder how long, certain people go bankrupt, like what's a Toys R Us. They did it for a little bit and then something happened and now they were apparently coming back. Maybe they're like truly gone now. But with the pandemic, we don't know how long this is going to last for. So
Yeah,
we
well-
don't know how long they're really going to struggle and like who's going to come out of this and actually really make it. The circumstances are completely different.
Yeah, well,
So-
Toys R Us was kind of fucked up by
So heartbreaking.
because of online retail.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
they weren't quick enough to evolve. Same thing with Payless and all the other places.
Yeah, they didn't reconstruct, their whole system. They should have,
Yeah, it kind of makes me
changed things up.
curious how like we can make somehow some sort of improvements that kind of like protect dancers in the hard times in a sense.
Hmm.
Because a lot of people that we know that are dancers, I feel like are having to go back to actually using their degrees. Or
If
actually,
they had one.
yeah.
I mean, I've been doing
Or
that.
go back to school. Go to
Oh, yeah.
school.
I don't know. It's interesting because I work in Hollywood and there's like a big billboard that says like this actors fund and things like that. And I know that there was like a dancers fund, which sounds great and it's a fantastic idea. But the amount of money that you would get is like minuscule compared to like what you would really need to like live. So you're just
Yeah.
like, oh, that's me and I get money. And they're like, here's a couple hundred. And you're like, oh, cool. Well, what am I going to
It's
do with
better than
life?
nothing.
True.
It's better than
Of
nothing.
course. But I feel like, again, I agree with Krystle. We got to have a little bit more support or something on helping these dancers out and just like artists in general.
Oh,
Yeah, in general.
see, now that's the thing though. If you do dancers, you got to do, people that paint. You got to do people that make music. You got to do people that act. You got to do everybody.
Well, actors, they have the
SAG.
what is it? Yeah. So they're really protected.
There's no dancers don't have a union.
Hmm.
But that's the thing,
And
though.
there were
that's
talks
if
about.
they're in SAG.
Yes.
That's
So if the dancer is under a union, then with SAG, then they have that settled. But it's so hard to get into that. You have to put in so many hours of work that falls under that category and pay your dues, and it's somewhat unachievable for the average upcoming dancer.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have like a classical background or anything like that.
Or an agent.
Yeah, but especially since with the whole lockdown thing happening again here in California, I feel like because some of our friends at the Mob Dance Studio, they're reopening, kind of like
Mhm.
trying to get some revenue again, but then another hit in the face. I mean that's the theme of 2020 is like, oh, you think it's fine right now? Don't
Just
go to sleep.
Just
Don't
wait.
Right?
Just wait. Just
Don't
wait.
believe me, just
Well, because people are impatient. You just have to be patient and do what you're supposed to do.
That's what sucks.
That's the thing. Like people are gonna sing like you're a sheep. Like
Right.
They politicized
it's-
this whole
I'm
thing.
seeing, and another thing for dancers, I'm seeing a lot of people have to move back to their home states.
Mhm.
People who came to LA with the dream, they can't even afford to be here. They don't have their jobs, they can't afford their rent, and they just have to go.
So for me, I like that. So I'm in the medical field, and I like that a lot of patients who are privileged white women need to go on Medi-Cal like everyone else, and they're just like, and they're just like, what do you mean Medi-Cal? Because I've had multiple. I've been doing this for 6 years, and I've had so many patients like look down upon people who are on Medi-Cal. They're just like, oh, I don't need Medi-Cal. I don't need handouts. I don't need this, that. And I'm like, okay, now what? What you gonna do now?
Welcome
Medi-Cal, right?
Welcome
Isn't
to
that
the
helpful?
Actually,
Look at
have
you.
to pay to get checked right now, and it's $100. Do you have
Exactly.
Medi-Cal?
Right, like it's weird the connotation that people have with like, ew, Medi-Cal, like you're just mooching off the system. It's like, no, people who can use it, like who
Unemployment
actually need,
too.
right?
Like
Like, give me
so
a
many
break.
people need help now, and I feel like a lot are going to come
Yeah.
out of it with greater appreciation for what they have and for the people who don't have. So hopefully,
Yeah,
they
they
I
have
mean,
don't.
it comes
understanding.
back anyways. It goes around.
Mhm.
Like
You
I had a
know.
patient get in a fight with me because he wanted me to call Medi-Cal for him and
Oh
sign some
gosh.
stuff, and I was like, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And he's just like, he was screaming at me, mind. He was like, I've always had a job, and I've never had to do anything other than click something or whatever insurance I want, and now I have to sign all these things. And I was like, yes, correct. That's adulting. You're 45. Let's get this together. Like no, but he was just privileged white dude that was just like, I've had everything done for me. Why can't you sign this paperwork? I'm
Did
not
you
gonna
say
sign
okay,
paperwork
boomer,
for
to him?
you.
And I'm sorry,
Okay,
this
boomer.
is not to bash. This
You're
is
gonna
not to
charge
bash.
him. You're gonna charge him.
This isn't to bash any not people who are not of color,
Yes, sir.
but it's just something we are seeing,
Yeah,
which is
I
unfortunate.
mean, 2020 vision.
It's become schizophrenia now.
Oh Lord.
What? It's true. You see it, but is it? Do you really see it? Or is it
It's a
just in your
mirage,
mind?
like a
It's a
store's
fucking
open.
mirage.
Yeah. No. The other day, before the lockdown happened again, I'm so used to Ross being closed.
Mhm.
I drove up and I looked at it and I literally just kept staring. And I'm like, it looks like there's people inside, but there can't be people. There were people inside. And logically, I was like, there can't be people inside. It's closed. We can't be doing this. And my heart wanted to go inside and really test it out and just see that store again. But it's just like something that was unreachable. Even though it was open, people were in there, it still felt so unreachable. And I drove on and I didn't go visit. And that was heartbreaking. People are going to be so
I
shocked
went.
to do the simplest.
Well, I needed clothes, so.
You went? You went to
Yeah, one time I needed clothes. I was in San Diego this weekend, and I decided to end up staying there for another night because we don't want to drive.
Uh-huh.
to travel.
And so I had to go and get. But I went in, pick what I need, and then I got out.
See,
You
that's the other
lie.
messed up part, though. A shop like that where so many clothes and everyone's touching the hang, like it's just not right. I'm not ready. That's not.
So
I
there's
hope
some.
it's sanitized after.
I recently went to go get glasses, and at that store, and there's been other stores as well, where if you pick something up, there's a separate container for you to put it back, and then they sanitize it. Obviously, I'm pretty sure they don't sanitize like clothes, but I know that
Fucking
there are
like pouring
stores.
hand sanitizer in there.
Get on in there, yeah. But I know that there are stores,
Definitely.
and that's the dope thing, that there are people out there like really taking major precaution, sanitizing stuff that has been touched.
Mhm.
But
So-
then there's other stores that are just like,
Yeah.
fuck it. Well, go get whatever you want. Go get what you need.
So I'm not gonna lie, I stepped into Zara really quick, and
What a confession.
I went into Zara really quick.
This is a confession now. Confession.
No. I went to Zara really quick last weekend,
Go for it.
and they're strict. Like, you cannot try anything on.
Of course.
Mhm.
You cannot even like put
Yeah.
it up to you because they'll walk. Literally, I was like, I wonder what they're gonna do. And this guy was like, I wonder if this jacket's gonna fit me. And they're like, sir, you cannot do that. And he was like,
Oh my
I'm
god.
just putting it up. And they're like, nope, you can't even do that. He's like, how do I know if it fits? They're like, buy it and take it home and then bring it back if it doesn't, because I guess
And the returning
they have some.
policy, is there even? It's like
Yeah,
an
they have
executive-
something where they like put the clothes in a certain room for X amount of days or whatever, so it can I don't know. I was just
The
like, wow,
most.
like this is
You're doing the most.
that's
Just
intense.
it's like a nightclub when you're not allowed to sit and you try to lean up against the wall or something, and the bouncer's like, "Excuse me."
There's such a thing? What? Is there such a thing like
What
that?
clubs do you go
Yeah.
to?
What?
What kind of clubs are that?
And they're like, "You can't sit down. You can't lean on the wall. Like
Why?
you can't breathe over there."
What
What?
club is
You
this?
can't breathe.
Back in our
you
day,
just- I don't
Back in
ever
your
remember anything like
day.
that. Well,
That's a
speaking
lot.
of back in your day, I mean, we're going to quickly transition. Brandon, you mentioned it was an interesting like topic you did from a
Oh.
recent interview.
Yeah, I just did an interview like an hour ago, and it was interesting because it was a fashion vlog for this kind of fashion vlog or whatever, I don't know, but the topic was like specifically kind of dancing around LGBT and like how has your fashion shaped you, and have you changed certain things, and they were just like, looking at your Instagram, like your Instagram's really curated, so like you have this kind of look to you, da da da. Have you always had this kind of interesting look? And I was like, nope.
I've seen the emo pictures, the emo face.
I used to
emo
be
pictures.
emo. Like I used to have the hair that like covered one eye down to my like cheekbone and like jet black, and I used to just be like, yeah,
Oh, I
like
can
that,
do that,
Diego,
yeah.
like that.
No,
And I used to be
blah, blah,
like, so cut my wrists and black my eyes, like, and just super like, and I was, yeah,
I
it
can
was a
see
lot.
it. I can
What,
still see
what-
it.
is this like saying like how far back? Is like just high school?
I would say
Yesterday.
high school.
Yesterday.
It was high school, and it was definitely like, I mean, I was vintage before American Eagle was vintage manufacturing
Wow.
shit.
Okay,
Like,
hipster.
no, like I was like legit like thrift store shopping and like wearing my grandpa's clothes, and yeah, I was definitely not who I am today.
Yeah,
And but I look in some pictures now and I'm like, oh, why did I do that?
yeah, in high school, I definitely dressed like I dressed like a punker. I wore all black.
Oh, let's go.
I had black fingernails.
Mad at the world.
I
You
was,
had
I
black
was,
fingernails?
I was mad at the world. I was a skater boy. I was like hardcore, like really into skating. Like I wanted to get sponsored and go
Shit.
pro and everything.
Man, I had that moment too. I was like designing my own skateboard and everything. I was like drawing. I would take a tech deck and like outline it and then just draw in my own designs.
Wow.
Yeah, I had like dreams
even know
to
how to
get my
skate.
own. I had dreams to get sponsored and get my own like designs on the skateboard.
Oh.
But then I realized like how scary it is. At that time, it was like, well, at least the people I was with were the type of people that were like, go big or go home. Like,
Mm.
my,
You
like,
gotta
Yeah.
give it all up.
yeah, it wasn't the style of skating I was into is called technical skating. And if you guys don't know what that is, look up Rodney Mullen.
I know
So,
Rodney Mullen.
Yeah, Rodney Mullen's is considered a technical skater, but back then it was like fucking how many stairs can you do a trick off of? Like, and the most I attempted was 9. Did the splits, never did it again.
Oh.
My friend would go from one roof, like in my high school, Glendale High School. There was a rooftop. My friend tried to do a trick down to a lower stage. He landed it, slipped, broke his arm.
Oh no.
And then seeing that shit, I'm like, I see how it's dangerous. So then I rediscovered dance, and then I'm like, okay, peace out, guys.
Peace out, yeah.
Just to share
No.
mine. I don't even know if you guys could imagine because I'm so sweet. But I had my
Kidding.
Go on.
combat boots, the trench coat, the like netting, lace. I had the chokers with the lock and
You're a
leather.
goth?
I was goth, black lipstick, just dark every day. I had long dark hair. It was crazy. But then when I started dancing, I flipped and went like TLC style and did the boys boxers and I bought like Gerbo jeans, the saggy jeans, and the
Just like that.
night and day. But the goth face was
Yeah.
fun. That was
Yeah.
actually
Dancing actually, yeah, it changed my outfits. I became I switched to wearing more vintage. Started wearing American Eagle
like
and shit.
Zulu and Rockaware.
You know what? When I became a dancer, I realized there's like this sort of fashion to it. You can kind of tell. It's like, all right, they're a dancer, right?
You look at them and we're like,
Yeah.
you're a
Yeah.
Yo, dancers. The thing is, dancers just have a good sense of fashion. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We
right?
do.
I've been
Yeah,
called out
and-
like randomly too. It's like, hey, are you a b-boy?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, when I started dancing, I'm like, I should develop that sense of fashion sooner or later, right?
Eventually.
5 years later, my closet is filled with 15 of the same pocket shirts. They're all just different colors, and that's my style now.
Damn.
It works for you.
Nice.
I have not
I
bought
mean-
anything for myself since 2012. So
Oh.
12.
the only reason I
Damn.
have recent fashion is because of Maxine.
There you go.
Yeah, she looks at it
Alright.
and I was like, you need an update. I'm like, no, it's fine.
No.
Like I'm not because I have no like the only time I guess fashion quote unquote is a problem or a challenge for me is when I don't have it for a performance.
Mm.
Exactly, and that's where I come in, and that's why I'm the artistic director to help out with fashion.
There are shows.
Otherwise, we'd just be
Yeah,
wearing hoodies the whole time.
That says, yo, genius, Emeroy. I did the same thing because when I did grids, I was like, we're just gonna wear black hoodies and like fucking camel pants. That's it, all right. And then I got my artistic director. My artistic director's like, no, we're gonna wear this. I'm
It
like,
just ups the production value of the
it does. It made
Yeah.
our maxed out performance look so good. All right.
all
doing this?
sorts of shit. All right, who did we get? Oh, Leighlyn.
School. I've always been. Well, I was dancing a lot back then, from elementary to high school. So, I've always, outfit wise, has always been so hip hop.
So hip
Like
hop.
the high cut
So hip-hop.
shoes. You know, high cut shoes.
Every shoe's high cut on you. You're like 4 foot.
Pocket size.
Yeah, speaking of which, because we were talking about the whole hip hop thing, and especially in our dance community, for a while we were calling it urban, but then again, that
yeah.
whole thing
It's
changed.
not.
What?
Can I say something? My
Yeah, go
daughter's
Oh
No,
no.
there.
no, no. Brandon, you talk.
Okay.
Yeah, you have a headset, Brandon. Yeah.
Actually,
Okay.
it's my turn.
Oh, right, Leighlyn.
Usually-
No, I
Yeah,
have
it's
to say
always-
my daughter's dance
Oh,
school,
no.
their hip hop. Y'all are so My family's gonna see me get picked on. They're gonna think I'm a loser.
They're gonna be like,
Daughter's school. Their
again?
hip hop,
You
their
gotta-
hip hop category.
You can't talk right now. It's my turn.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can I go now?
Yeah, you,
Yes.
Lord Jesus. My daughter's school, their hip hop category was called ratchet. It was called ratchet hip hop. Mind you, this is for toddlers. This is for 3 years old to like 16.
that's a thing.
And I'm pretty sure if you go to the website right now, you can still see it, but it's categorized as ratchet. And
Wait, what was the age group you said?
from 3 years old to maybe 16. And my family came to my daughter's first recital, and in the pamphlet, it was listed as their classes, and it was like ratchet. And my whole family's like, "Ooh, what?"
Yeah, what do they say? Oh my god.
Well, that's what they
Are
get
they
for having you
twerking in
teach
there?
people.
Like what the heck?
It's an RPV, so it's like there
No,
are.
I don't know what it
it's
is.
like
It's a pretty well-off, affluent community.
it's just
A bunch of
estates in the
white
hills.
women.
They got money. It's
Like the
that
average
community.
estate,
They
$3 to
got
$5
ratchet money.
million home. Yes, they got a lot of money.
Wait, so I mean, when did you start teaching these classes?
I need that link, yo.
At
I
the
need to
school.
see that.
I started when I was with you guys. I was still teaching.
No. When did you start teaching your daughter's classes?
Let's see, December. So December. Wait, leave me alone.
How's her son?
You-
Right.
Like
You're not getting it.
October, November. Why?
You
Why?
ain't getting it, but it's okay. It's okay. Anyway,
It's okay. You can't hit them all.
so
Why did I know?
yes, so ratchet, I get it. It's
Oh, because I started there.
no.
You're an
No.
asshole. Okay.
We're gonna miss. We're gonna miss.
Woo.
It's a no, yo. By the end of this podcast, she's gonna be like, Brandon.
He's gonna text the group chat. Fuck you.
2 a.m.
I don't. First of all, there's a lot of things wrong with it. The problematic things are you have 3 to 16. What? That's a crazy age thing to put in there. Anyways, 1, 2. I mean, what is ratchet? Like,
What
who
is
knows
what
ratchet?
what is ratchet hip hop?
It was just basic hip. It wasn't even like roots derived hip hop. It was just like cheer style hip hop.
It's like twerking
that's-
as in like.
Oh.
That's
That's what I was asking. Are these
Tap, tap.
kids twerking?
Yeah.
Like what?
No, like it was very, very competitive style hip hop, but somebody deemed it appropriate to title the category.
Well, what were the songs?
I mean, it's
what were
like-
what were the songs?
Yeah.
Because to be honest, some people would call it whatever just
I
because
mean,
of the song.
No,
It
It
was
sounds
like
like a-
upbeat, like
It's
like
a sexy
kids
marketing
bop,
term.
kids bop style hip hop.
It was kids
you
bop style hip hop.
know?
Oh yeah, that's
Like
And it's called ratchet.
That's ratchet right
these
there.
parents.
You're gonna see those kids. Hey, I did some ratchet dance today. I learned some ratchet
I'm
dance.
gonna look it up right now. I'm gonna find it. Let me
yo.
see.
That does sounds like a really exploitation of the title. It's like it's a marketing tactic, really, to try to make it sound different. Because hip hop, even then, like there's the whole debate between what to call hip hop choreography.
Yeah.
Because like the whole first it was like urban dance. Now it's like, what do we call it?
Commercial
well,
hip hop.
Commercial. I
What
mean,
did-
that's what Culture Shock called it back in the day, like 2008. There was a fuck. I feel like we talked about this already.
We did.
Yeah, the whole commercial hip hop.
It's like, what exactly are we naming? What are we naming? What are we trying to name? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Dance class.
It's just a choreography class.
It's a choreography class, right? We're not really trying to define another style here, right? We're just trying to give people's choreography a title. So why don't we just call it their choreography, or like just choreography?
Because it's not very for me. I would say my perspective, like it's not very marketable. Because I can't be like, excuse me, put it on my website and be like Brandon's choreography class. Like, who the fuck is Brandon? You know, it's
Well, what the fuck is urban?
like that? But it
Unless you have
sounds
a bio right there.
but it sounds sexy. That's the thing. That's why like it's when it comes to the whole marketing thing. Some of these names, Matt, like
Brandon Berciaga.
like Bercia,
I thought that name was
Dance
big for the
Berciaga
longest
Styles.
time.
But yeah, it would be because like ratchet hip hop or urban dance sounds cooler than Diego Tea's hip choreography class.
Well, that's because my name sounds whack.
Te-
If my name was like Max Powers or some shit, or like
Max Power.
Leonardo
Max-
DiCaprio, oof, bruh.
Well,
Or
it's
like-
definitely catching.
yeah,
Yeah, Doug, or like some shit like
Definitely catching. It makes you like, what?
yeah,
like-
it's definitely the catchiness.
yeah, that was the whole 3-year-olds dancing to something called ratchet
You know,
hip hop.
like-
That is just
It would just sound off like when you use these words when even though you know what it means, but these kids don't know what it means. Like I said earlier, when they say like, "Hey, I just learned some ratchet choreography," and any adult that knows what that is would be, excuse me.
And also,
yeah.
you're connecting ratchet to any song that's played in that performance. So now, like if it's hip hop or R&B music, or even if it's just like, you know, different types of within the hip hop world, because the hip hop I feel is like an umbrella, and then
Mhm.
there's like, you know,
Mhm.
all the different things that fall
Then
under
you
that,
have-
right?
Yeah.
There's like
Yeah.
crump, and everybody's doing that. Like there's different like styles that kind of fall within that umbrella-ish kind of thing. So you automatically lump it into the ratchet umbrella, and most of the people who listen to those music are people of color. So then therefore they're ratchet, listening to their ratchet music, driving their ratchet cars, you know, living in their ratchet communities.
And it's a conditioned, you know, cycle.
Yeah, Diego, I
And,
think
and the worst part is the children, you know, are coming from the highest of high
course.
status, and they're gonna trickle that down, and you know, it's the worst.
that's what it is. Yeah, Diego, I saw you just you react while Brandon was talking.
Yeah, I saw
yeah.
your face.
Yeah. What's on your
No,
mind?
because it had something completely different. No, because you were talking about people, you know, I sort of using hip hop as an umbrella term and then categorizing all these other styles under it, you know, like crump and all this stuff. And I'm like, people really think
That
that
ratchet
shit.
is not
And-
a
and
style
that's-
though.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about a lot of things. That was the main thing when Brandon said this. Like, dog, people really like would put crump in like hip hop.
Yeah.
Crump's like in that little tier, that
Yep.
next tier, you know, and it's like
Yep.
that's not what it is. You know, hip hop's hip hop, crump's one thing, breaking's another, house is another, so on and so on and so on, right?
Yeah, but
Now,
it's all the same thing in
Yeah.
people's eyes.
Well,
It's like
in
it's all hip
people's
hop
mind.
class.
Yeah, that's the thing, and And you know what? That's a very important thing that teachers need to do. If they're going to teach a class, whether it's, obviously it's not going to be urban, whether it's their choreography, popping, locking, house, hip hop,
Really
whatever it is,
educate.
you have to teach that. You can't just say, I'm going to teach a hip hop class.
And you like pop and lock and
Pop and lock.
So that they know too, like the education, you know, moves forward to them. You're not giving them a misinformation as to when they interact with other people. You know, they don't get embarrassed because they think they know one thing, and then they actually don't.
That's
you as a teacher, like it's your job to educate these kids you're teaching.
Yeah, no, I agree. But what makes it
Why are you laughing like that, man?
No, because we were Diego and I were trying to get in, but we were like,
that's what she said.
Why we gotta raise hands?
I know. I feel like we didn't have this problem last time, but we're in a room with mouths now. So I agree with it's the teacher's responsibility, but the problem is I think there's a lot of teachers that are young in a sense.
Yeah.
Like, not to hate on the youngsters, because I know you want to be a choreographer, and I respect your aspirations to be whatever it is that you want to be, choreographer for So You Think You Can Dance, or So You Think You Can Dance, or travel, or whatever. But I think it's part of it is the younger instructors not exactly knowing history or sharing it. I know there's some exceptions, but I also know part of also to play devil's advocate against myself is that like the older generation kind of attacks the younger generation, which turns him off to begin with. So it becomes like an annoying parent saying you should be teaching foundation, and then some of the younger generations being like, "Fuck foundation, I'm gonna do what I want."
Don't forget your culture.
But
So
I have something to say.
No. Diego had his hat first.
Okay, very important. Yes, I believe I mentioned this at the first podcast when we were at Liz's house, that, there's nothing wrong. Let me say my shit. There's nothing wrong with teaching a class. There's a lot of young people out there, when I was like, I want to teach. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But listen to what you're saying. I want to teach. I want to teach. If you teach, you teach. Don't just, this is my choreo, teach something. I think the other thing is a lot of people label their classes now, because it's like, well, majority of people are like, well, what are you going to teach? What style are you going to teach? We lost Brandon.
He'll come back on.
All right, cool. But it's like, what style are you going to teach? So they kind of label their classes, hip hop, heels, this, that, that. And now the thing with that is, if you're not teaching hip hop, if you're not teaching popping, locking, or anything like that, you're going to be in the wrong with somebody. Now, to all my young ones out there, I'm still young too, and I'm still learning how to teach. Don't be afraid to ask, because if you say the wrong thing or you do the wrong thing, you're most likely going to get blasted by somebody, That's true. And if you don't know, don't be afraid to ask. It's insane how many big name dancers actually respond to DMs, especially nowadays in quarantine.
We got time.
Yeah, we got time. Flashback a couple days back to Boogaloo, to the Boogaloo day that came up. I asked about like 4, 5 people, still asking right now about, the definition of Boogaloo, and these people just responded, they're big name dancers, really big, and they still respond, because it's like, you just never know who's going to respond. Yeah. Don't be afraid to go out and ask. If you don't know, ask. If you don't know, ask.
Yeah, I think it's because the conditioning of school, of like, if you have a question, you're stupid, because I don't know if you remember that, like in elementary school, if you raise your hand, like, oh, you don't know the answer. There's kind of like, we've been conditioned to like think we're dumb if we don't know, which is why some people hesitate.
Thing when I taught at a previous studio, I would always tell my students there are no dumb questions, to ask, and I would tell them, odds are whatever you're thinking, someone else is thinking it too, and would be relieved that you asked, and that would open the door to have them ask. But,
yeah.
See, now the way the saying goes is, there's no such thing as a dumb question. And then when the first student raises their hands, you say, except for Timmy's question. That's a dumb question.
No.
I just kicked out any student who asked a question. Or I'm just kidding.
And to rewind a little, I was going to say Emeroy, you had mentioned younger students not taking the time to educate on what they're teaching, but I've also been in a lot of classes where they're senior choreographers bum rushing their choreography, just, boom, boom, cat going, and nothing is explained. Not only is nothing explained, you barely even really pick up what they're putting out. Because they're trying
Are
to.
they filming?
Oh, half the time, and they're just
talking
trying
about
to.
film.
Oh, well, there we go. There we go. That's film choreography.
But even if they're not filming, like this is with unfilmed or filmed, it's just get in, get out, and they're more towards trying to uphold that reputation.
I think
I don't know what it is, but
yeah, I'll say this now. I've had several classes where the main goal was to get through the choreo, and then I've had several classes where the main goal was to get the choreo. Yes, good addition, to finish the choreo and then film. And then there's been some classes where it's like, I just want you to get the choreo, and those are two very different classes. You might pay the same, but you're getting two very different experiences there.
Yeah.
When taking these classes, you just have to know what before you go in, even though you see this choreographer so known, before wanting to take that class, you have to really make sure what you're signing up for, because you go there to learn and then you realize this choreographer is just there to teach quick and then shoot it for their content. Or you have those people where they focus on actually teaching you their craft, and then you even are the one who wants it right away. So it's, you just have to know what you get into before taking all the classes that you want to take, because you don't want to waste your money.
You know what? That is a good point. That is a good point. I want to bring something else up. To anybody who is trying to figure out what they want as a dancer, that is very important, to figure out what exactly you want. To figure out what exactly you want as a dancer. Because there's been several times, for those of you that were in the last podcast, I'm a director of a team called Grits and Gravy, and there's been a couple times where I would ask somebody, like, what is it that you want to do with dance? And I would get like I don't know, And it's just like, so what exactly is the reason that you're here? Did you join it just for the heck of it, or did you join it because you want to get better as a dancer? You want to get better at this? You want to do this? You want to do that? Like, I feel like a good way to, if you haven't already, is figure out what exactly it is you want with dance.
If you want to pick up your choreography, like what's the term when you pick up choreography really fast?
Yeah, I think it's just pickup game.
Pickup game.
Yeah.
You might want to work on that. So going to an instructor who just shoots it at you, that could help you with that. But if you're not good with picking up choreography fast, like you're gonna have a
take a beginner's class. Take a beginner's class.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that's another thing. Don't be afraid to walk. Don't be afraid to walk. Don't
leave class.
No. Don't be afraid to. No.
I can't do that.
30 minutes. I'm like, fuck. This choreography is not my style. Please.
$20?
No, I mean, like, don't be afraid to take things slowly. Don't be afraid to go back to like beginner's hip hop, or like beginner this, beginner that. Like, Liz, everybody knows Liz. Liz told me,
the people who are listening to this podcast probably don't know Liz. We gotta assume that no one knows anyone.
Yeah.
All right. Lizelle.
No, don't mention her name. She's on my content enough. So,
all right, whatever.
Our friend. I'm just kidding.
All right, our friend.
No, you can say Lizelle.
Oh my fucking god! What do you want me to say?
I'm just fucking with you right now.
All right.
What do you want?
Our friend.
Do you want?
She's frozen, but she's still talking. Our friend Liz, what was I even talking about? Oh yeah, she always recommended that I go back to beginner classes, and even some choreographers tell me go listen to slower music, because it's sometimes you need to walk before you run. Don't be afraid to go back. Don't just jump into like, let me go get some master classes. Let me go take this person's class because they're a big name. Like, don't be afraid to go and just start walking. Take some beginner classes, because shit, some of y'all need it.
That's true. Like for me, when I first started locking, I was going straight for like the more advanced techniques. Fucking doing Skeeter Rabbit and all the all the hard moves.
All that shit.
But when I joined Culture Shock and I was like, oh yeah, I thought I'm like doing all this shit. Like because the feedback was like, you need to slow down, just take it a step back, because it's like sometimes foundation isn't sexy for a lot of people, but it's like literally like what the title for everything else in terms of your freestyling or your dancing, because it then gives you, there's a level of ability foundation gives you, not that cool moves will not,
It teaches you control,
Yeah.
and pacing yourself at the same time hitting those moves. That's something that I still have to learn till this day, even though I've been dancing ever since I was in elementary school, because most of my dances back in my country everything was self-taught. Like even our choreographers, the people who are teaching us and the competitions that I was in, they were most of their dances were also self-taught. So when I came here and I actually stopped dancing for school, when I came back, like I felt like I was in first grade of dancing. Like I had to relearn everything. Like even my body doesn't feel right. Like there's certain things that doesn't feel right no more. So, sometimes I would notice myself like kind of beat myself up sometimes, or like I don't move the same way I used to move. But then I just had to tell myself like, what's wrong with starting somewhere? You can always restart. There's no age to restarting, to relearning.
Yeah, I was just going to say similar. I'm curious to see after all of this, when companies get back together, instructors start teaching, how many people are going to have to work, kind of dial themselves back to get back to where they were. Because I do pole fitness, and where I've been, slacking through months myself, there are people that I follow heavily, and I've been witnessing them on social media, whereas they had access to these poles in their studios, they don't at home. So now I'm literally seeing their bodies decline. I'm seeing their muscle definition go away. And, it's like when all of this gets back in, I'm curious how long it's going to take for some of these athletes to regain their strength and, just get back to where they were technique-wise.
Yeah, because the rust is the rust is real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For those of you guys
Yeah,
watching on YouTube
y'all.
right now, Brandon's internet is down, in case you guys were wondering.
Is that why he didn't come?
Yeah, that's why he's not connected.
Oh,
So we were talking real quick about self-care.
Yes.
That I think is Krystle's method. Krystle.
Shower.
Yeah, Krystle methods. Krystle's method. Krystle's method of fuck. I can't say that. So of self-care scared Diego. So earlier, she was talking about depression and then crying in the shower.
Oh, it's a shower? That's she was talking about?
I'm making shit up now. So.
Oh, because I thought
music.
I thought she was talking about just sitting in a jacuzzi.
All sad.
Although I do that
just
too.
sad?
I do that too. I just did that yesterday.
You fucking
Hey, Krystle, you okay?
I'm kidding.
If it's a body of water, it's relaxing. So for self-care, yes. Like for me, having access to water is nice. I'll sit in the shower for a while and think, or go in the pool, do some laps.
Bathe in your tears and stuff. Krystle cries in the shower so people don't hear her.
No.
She'd be in the shower all like,
Never have I cried in the shower.
Oh god. The shower is like the best time for ideas though.
Dude, the shower, shower ideas.
I get some
ideas.
best ideas.
That's your moment, those music videos, the rain music videos, and they sing like sad songs out in the rain.
Those old school R&B, like open button-up shirt, and it's like, oh, yeah.
Yo, question: has anybody ever had like a really good idea in the shower? And they're like, "Yo, all right, I gotta get dressed and I gotta write this down."
I told Krystle about my VR idea recently.
Oh, you guys actually remember them? I usually forget them. By the time I get dressed, for some reason they're just like they stay in.
I started writing more of my ideas
Keep a clipboard in there.
Because your ideas will come and go. That's why, like, as smart as the human mind is, it's also very unreliable.
Fleeting.
So
Yeah, write
Yeah.
them down. You gotta
Like-
write them down.
yeah, I have a lot. I told Krystle and a few other people about a VR idea I want to do. I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Like,
Hey, what's your idea?
I don't know if I can say it or if it'll offend anyone.
Don't say it. Don't
Don't say it
say
here
it.
because you want it to be a surprise.
Don't say it here. Don't say it here. Don't say-
Even then, I don't.
Wait,
I'm
let's
of the
stick
belief
to the
that
topic, though, like self-care.
fair. Okay, well, thank you for reeling us back in. Layla.
Self-care, right? Self-care.
Self-care. So,
Then ideas.
I mean,
Then ideas.
what are you guys doing for self-care now that we're in lockdown again?
Who
Aside
wants
from
to go
crying in the
first?
shower,
Crying downstairs, crying in my room, crying outside.
yelling at my neighbors for fun.
No, who-
Started
Emeroy-
barking at them at 3 a.m. Have you guys seen those posts? Like
No.
people actually set time to howl outside. I think like at that 3 a.m. or 12 a.m. midnight.
Who the hell's doing this?
They actually made a page for that.
Wait, but where is this
I got
happening?
invited. I was like,
LA.
You got invited?
anywhere. So they made a page to where to tell everyone, because of this quarantine and being home all the time, and you can't really interact with people personally. So a way to express, the feeling of loneliness is just, just for fun. Like, how when things are so heavy on your shoulder, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good to like go on a hike and then scream, right? So basically, it's like that, but you're howling at 12
I'd
a.m.
be down for that.
So you're vocalizing
Yeah.
what you're going through.
Do some
Yeah.
I mean,
vocalizing at 3
so-
a.m.
So it's better to scream
Shut
when
the
you're
fuck up.
howling.
Pro tip: if
I
you
was
ever
like,
need
no, I need to
to
sleep early. I have to wake up at 8.
All right, Krystle.
pro tip: if you ever need to scream, you can set up some bath water, put your head under, and let it out. No one's gonna hear you under the water.
All right. Okay. Well, give me a second
Back to
option. I
water.
don't have a bathtub. I don't have a bathtub. Give me a second option.
Oh, then you're just gonna have to yell, like, go hiking. Don't go hiking and yell, people, because then someone's gonna think there's an emergency and they're gonna call 911.
I know, for real. Fucking helicopter is like flying over you, and fucking the fire department and the park rangers. Are you okay? Just
No, just
Heard
all you
yelling.
have to
stress.
all you have to yell is.
Oh my God.
I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I'm just yelling to feel out of some aggression.
Okay. But then in that case, you're just gonna get arrested, and then let's not get into that topic actually.
Or I can just do what I do and just stay at home and chill.
Yeah.
That's-
Well,
All
that's-
right, Diego, what's your self-care?
my self-care is that like
Yeah.
I recently got my laptop, and I
What?
guess for I
just
recently just got my laptop. Here it is. I got my little headset, little light up headset.
Sexy.
How's it going? I
You're
got
gaming.
myself some light.
Nice. I got myself a light too. Like, hey, we're the Light Brothers right
Yeah,
now.
we the light brother. And
Yo,
you know what?
but
This is
Uh-huh.
this
Go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, like this is the thing, self-care technically happens at home. So I kind of just invested a lot in my
games?
my home. No, because here's the thing. I invested in some weights, right? Because I'm at home.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
self-care, working out, so I guess my self-care would just it's kind of just doing whatever it is I feel like I want to do. There's this one dancer, his name's Diesel, and I was watching one of his workout videos, and he didn't really have like a plan. He just talked about like, he works out based on how he feels. So if his arms are like not feeling too great, he's not gonna work out arms. He's gonna do something else. If it hit his shoulders, his legs aren't feeling too great, he'll do something else. His body doesn't want to do a lot of, but you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it's like, what is it that I need to work on myself at any time? I bought some books in case I ever feel like reading. I have my workout stuff. I have my speaker for dance. I have my TV and my computer for video games. I mean, that's my self-care. I know what I like. So I just bought stuff that I like that I know is, at the end of the day, if I ever need to stress out, there it is. Video games, book, working out, whatever it may be.
I like that a lot of people in the lockdown, or just based off what I'm hearing, are using this as an opportunity for self-care or like self-reflection. Like Tabasco was reading a lot more because it's so much of our external distractions that numb us from having to look within are
Yeah.
removed. Because most of the time when people have a sort of challenge, they numb it. They look for some sort of distraction to not think about it. But when we're at home, there's nothing. You have people. Some people might even have existential crisis because like they're like, why? Like I have no work. What's my purpose in life? What do I do
Yeah.
now? And then
Exactly.
that's why like the self-care
That's
is.
me on my day off.
What do I do? I have no value. It's a
You're
normal thing.
stressing out.
A normal.
Yeah, it is.
Like
That's a normal thing. If multiple people have that, that's a normal thing.
like I'd say like because people attach themselves to or their identities to their jobs, their titles, and all this other stuff. But when like what Corona's doing is it's stripping it away. Like if you are not a dancer, then who are you?
Diego.
But like who
You're
are you? Like
not
that,
at work. Who are you?
who are you if you're not doing XYZ? Like people put a lot of their value into that, and then they realize like if I'm not doing that, they feel like they're useless. So then then this is an opportunity like to discover like who am I in this process of not being attached to these titles.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
it's a little and then that kind of inquiry leaves open possibilities to become more. Like okay, if I'm not just the doctor, maybe if you allow yourself to taste different things, you can discover that you might like, I don't know, automotive repair, aside from being a dancer, or you might just find that you are also a painter, or you might like you discover different things now that your mind is not distracted by your everyday.
But now the biggest thing with that is, do they have it within themselves to find out who they really are?
That's the hard part.
Yeah, some people can just be at home and be like, well, I'm at home, I'm gonna relax, but just do nothing.
Yeah, become a potato.
Yep. Hey, potatoes come in all great shapes and sizes. Don't you bag on potatoes like that, all right?
I know.
Let's use a
Cauliflower?
I don't know.
Cauliflower.
I
like cauliflower. I like cauliflower.
You can like deep fry cauliflower, and some people eat it instead of wings, so you can't use cauliflower either.
Yeah.
But
But
the point is,
never
the
tried
point
that.
is
I
that
want to
yes.
try that though.
like
I want to try that.
yeah, it's true because most people will not change. I think we might have discussed this in this podcast, or I might have talked in another podcast. But like most people are okay living in some form of, I'd say quote unquote mediocrity, but that sounds super condescending. But they'll tolerate things that aren't life or death. Like most people will not change their eating habits until they find out they have diabetes, or they won't quit smoking until they have cancer possibly.
Well, because it's like, well, you can attach it to coronavirus. Like as you can see on social media, there are still people who don't believe in this virus. So it's more of like until it hits you, it doesn't really stick in your head. Until it doesn't affect you, it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like most people, I'm sure to hear like most people, adults, get set in their ways at 25, and the only way that most adults change is if they experience a traumatic experience, because it's literally a meteor hitting their world, causing them to have to shift their way of thinking to adjust to this new standard that's being called from them. But the thing is, like most people, especially our the way we think, like our brains aren't built for like long-term dangerous pandemic kind of shit. Our brains are more wired for like, oh, saber-toothed tiger, run, danger's gone, I'm safe. But
That's
the thing
crazy.
is, we're wired. We can't comprehend. Our human brains can't comprehend the level of danger because it's so long, and we can't see it. We can't see like, oh shit, there's a fucking virus in front of us to kill it. Like if it was like Alien, like fucking the monster's trying to get on your face, we'll be like, oh shit, I'm staying home.
Yeah, you only see it when you're affected by it. When someone caught it, and then you're more apprehensive. But there was a period of time where it was like people were asking, do you know anyone who had it? Do you know? Trying to kind of gauge how close it really was. And if everyone within that circle is like, I don't know anyone who has it, then they had this false sense of security because they felt like there was a barrier around them.
And you know the fault in that is you might know your friends, you might know who's next to them, but I mean, how close do you know the people you live around? To be honest, I don't really know my neighbors that great.
Oh, for sure.
Yes. I mean, from the beginning, you know, as soon as this whole lockdown, like, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do everything I can in my power to make sure that me, my family, and everybody that I'm close to is safe. And, you know, I had a couple people around me that were like, oh, it's not real, dog. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, come on, dude. Some of them even used the whole, like, dude, we're Mexican. This shit doesn't happen to us. I'm like, I don't know about that.
All racist.
Oh, hello, Brandon. What's up? But the thing is, everything changed with this specific person when somebody around them got corona. After that, everything came to like, I can hang out, like, you know, like everything just completely changed. And like, that's the truth. Like, there's a lot of people out there, the people that don't believe that it's true probably don't have someone or anyone,
that was affected.
A coworker, a friend, family member, a loved one, doesn't matter. Like, they don't have somebody that was affected, you know? I mean, that's all I had, really. They just don't have someone that was affected by it.
Yeah, I think the bigger problem is that our country has politicized this whole thing instead of believing science.
Yeah.
It's like, here's the data. Data is black and white. I mean, it's open to interpretation, yes, because people can like twist it in the way to fit a narrative. But you know, like, because it's showing that like not everyone gets or interprets data the right way. Like only 1% of Americans will die. I'm like, 3 million people. 1% is a lot.
Give me the stats. How many is 1%? Tell me. There has been so many, like, only 12% of these people have got the coronavirus. It's like, all right, well, what's 12%? Because there could be 100 people there, and 12% is just 12 people. Or it could be 12% is like one person. You know, 12% could be a lot. Give us these numbers. You guys are telling us like, oh my God, like 75% of our hospital beds are taken up. All right, but how many hospital beds you got? Like, give us these numbers. You know, you're trying to either scare us or make us feel good. But once we find these numbers, we're gonna have our actual emotions. Like, just tell us the numbers. Tell us what we gotta do. Like, tell us what's going on. Don't lie to us. Don't try to create news.
I was going to say, to get Brandon up to speed, we were just talking about people's false sense of security with the virus and how people might ask, do you know anyone who has it? Do you know anyone who has it? And if people don't know anyone who's had it directly, then they feel a little more safe and secure, and they don't follow by the guidelines as they should.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Disney.
Yo, that Disney meme you shared, Krystle.
I totally agree, because I've had multiple people be like, all of this stuff is crazy. Do you even know anybody who has COVID? And I'm like, actually, yeah. And my friend's dad died yesterday. And my friend's like aunt and grandma have it, and they're about to die like tomorrow. And they're like, oh.
And then they shut up.
Yeah, and I'm just like, so, I mean, yeah, it's crazy, and it sounds like, oh, what the fuck? But like, yes, it's a thing. Like, I had a patient last week call me on the phone because our doctors are not seeing a lot of patients face-to-face anymore. It's a lot of phone calls, and some of my patients hate it, and they're complaining. So this one guy was like, you know, you're denying me healthcare. And I was like, no, actually, we're not. I mean, you get a phone call with the provider. What's the difference with some, you know, you're talking about the same things. It's the same situation. You can even video call them if you want to. And he's like, you know what, I got to call you back because I want to see what my availability is. He called back and he's just like, okay, look, is this even like a thing anymore? Is COVID like a real thing? Like, should I be worried about like still? Because I feel like you guys are making this bigger than it is. And I was like,
wow.
So it's like, here I am working in a clinic, a health clinic, and you have patients who are still like, is this a thing?
Yes, the whole world, the Illuminati planned this whole thing, so everyone's fucking, the economies will fuck up. And
Donald Trump made it up
it's not
so
the
that
virus.
he couldn't get impeached.
Sorry, Leighlyn, go ahead.
And guess what? Now he's wearing a mask.
He looks
So his supporters was like, no mask.
he's one of them. He's part of the scamdemic. Yeah.
Everybody watching this podcast loves us for what?
I mean, it feels like, because we did talk about this, and I feel like people are hearing it everywhere. It's just shit, what the fuck do we talk about? It's affecting our lives in a big way.
Yeah, you're right. Look at what the fuck we're doing, dude. Would this podcast really be a thing if it wasn't for COVID? I mean,
Yeah, it's still gonna be. It would have been a thing. It would have been better produced.
Maybe.
No, like I would have. I would have. Like, for us, I had media days planned out. Like we
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
a shoot,
Yeah.
but then we would also
Emeroy.
have a podcast session. We'd probably film 2 or 3 episodes.
We had
Have
such a
someone-
timeline.
Yeah, like
For those that don't know, Emeroy's amazing.
you're amazing. The only reason this shit happens
Gay.
is because you fuckers were like company after our fucking last performance. So that, I think, Diego, you were with Grits, so you were busy being a leader.
I was
that
with
day.
Grits.
Yeah, but like after our exhibition lights performance, they gave me a card to fucking butter me up, and then all of a sudden they're all fucking yelling, making it like company.
Chant.
Yeah, everyone for a while they
Never
were making
said that.
it company. Oh well. I mean, you're off.
And Emeroy was like, all right, are we doing this or are we doing this?
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, it's easy to be like excited about something, starting something's exciting, but then I like coming from running family business for like a good long time and then running my own company, it's like I'm aware of like the crew, like the amount of work that's gonna happen, and in my head I'm like, do these fuckers know how much we're gonna have to work to even scratch the surface of being somewhat known, to even
Dude,
scratch the surface of making money?
I've had a team for 3 years, and we're barely even getting there. Hell yeah, I know what the fuck we gotta do. I'm
Yeah,
in
you
it
get it,
to.
yeah.
I'm in it to win it, Emeroy. I'm
Yes.
in it to win.
Like-
I'm in it when I'm available.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has different everyone has different availabilities. So that's one of the things I wanted to do with Temper Tantrum. Like one of we might get, like, I want us to have like a roster of, like, say, I don't know, on the weekend they need stage performers, but we also have people who are doing a music video. That'd be
Mhm.
cool to have people booked, the company booked, but do 2 different gigs.
Yeah,
That's-
exactly.
That
those are
would be
things-
dope. That's
Those are the
dope.
kind,
Well,
the kind of
I-
things. But Leighlyn, you're not going to get
I
any of
kinda-
that. So just,
Snip, snip.
I'm just going to give you the camera and
Wow.
start like, record, bitch.
You're
I'm
social
just-
media.
Wow.
No, but like those are things I aspire to, and which is why I'm still having us create content in the middle of this. Because while people are sitting twiddling their fucking thumbs, debating about what to do, who to cancel, and whatnot, I want us to continue creating.
Who to cancel? Cancel culture.
Yeah. Oh God.
That's
cancel
why
culture is-
I like
I think
what you
Adidas is next.
when we had that phone call. I like when you told me that, you know, how you set up the availability for everyone. You give us this list of shows, rehearsals, like a platform of how it's gonna look like. So it gives us a time to, you know, to see things if this is something that we can do and we can't do. So
'cause-
I like that. It's not
I-
like this is what we're gonna do. You're in it or not.
yeah, because for those
Like,
companies,
it's not fair for people who have other things. to do.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Like, because I empathize with people who, like me being a dad, and like, I mean, also
Especially if we're
knowing
not
I have
paying.
like other shit. Yeah, like, you guys aren't getting paid. I'm not paying you for your time. It's
Get your bread up.
It's like it. I want to give opportunity for people who can do it, but at the same time, we obviously want to produce a great product. But I'm also empathizing with shit. I know Brandon's got his own company going on, so I want to be able to support it. I know he wants time for that. Like, for me, it's like if I care about the dancers, not just be an asshole to them, because I know you guys, because I know you guys experience me as an asshole. But if I care about the person's agenda, what they want, that kind of communication, then we
And
can work
it's-
together. Because I think
yeah.
that's one of the lot of things a lot of leaders forget to do is connect
Check in.
and meet at the level of their employees or who they're managing, and they're too focused on trying to be the quote unquote leader, when in reality a leader is the servant. They serve the people to make sure that they are set up to win in whatever they're trying to become.
Yeah.
And versus like, because you're not trying to bark orders, because then the fuck, like, then you create I guess a toxic work environment if you're just constantly barking orders and all that shit, or telling them it's this way. I mean, obviously there's values that need to be upheld, but there's also like, they're still humans. That's the most important thing. We got to be connected at that human level. So, I mean, for FanBiz did not start getting in any sort of like name 7 years until 7 or 8 years after it was founded.
Ooh, 2 more years. I got this.
So what keeps me going, like what kept me going, especially when I first started FanBiz, is that the first 3 years of any business is always the hardest.
Yeah.
So most businesses fail after 3 years because either they're impatient, they're just impatient. They want it too fast.
Wow, we expected more.
Like, yeah.
I didn't. That was perfect. That was all I needed. Sweet, simple, to the point.
Yeah. Sorry, Krystle, you're going to say something?
Yeah, I was just sipping my cup, and I remembered when I worked for Disney, that was something that management did. When you join Disney, they ask, where do you want to be within the company? What do you want to do in the future? Do you want to be an animator, a dancer, an actress, anything like that? And
Animated dancer.
they'll put you on a path to that. I've seen people start off at the parks and become an animator for,
Whoa.
Toy Story.
That's amazing. That's
But
dope.
that's how it is. They really focus on helping all their employees reach their,
Their goals, yeah.
goals. And
I know for Temper Tantrum, like either people like for now, it's like a lot of people are joining it for fun. What I love about the company is that the people wanted it to happen, so it wasn't like pulling teeth, like, oh, I'm gonna like do this. So the fact that there was kind of a love for it already, a support,
willingness.
a willingness, I think was a strong foundation. Even though I was apprehensive because I just like the
So
idea, because the idea of starting over with another
So many
dance company
talks.
is rough. Because like I shared with you guys in the first rehearsal, like I was hesitant about asking for help for anyone to come dance with me because I was so used to being flaked on. So like, and it still sometimes brings me anxiety. Like at rehearsals, like who's not going to be here today? Like,
I
how
know
do we
that.
adjust? Yeah. So like
I know that.
Then yeah, it's just, I'm just grateful that you guys are in it and are willing to be a part of it in some form or fashion. And that's why I want us to continue creating, whether it's through the podcast, so that people can know us beyond the dancers, but also like have us continue doing creative projects beyond what's happening. Because even though we're in a rough circumstance, I still think there's a opportunity for us to create. Like people, like I said, are twiddling their thumbs trying to figure out what to do. And it's like, do you know what? Like, let's just keep creating shit, leverage our talents to build a brand for ourselves, to create a body of work that, well, could be therapeutic for us because we're dancing, but it can also be potentially have a message or could make an impact on someone. Who knows? These are like just byproducts of our creation, but we'll never make an impact unless we create. So
Ooh.
There is a fuck. You know what? I don't even know if I want to fucking say it.
say it.
You know,
If you don't want, if you want me to cut it out, I'll cut it out.
No, because the thing is I don't really remember how it goes. You know, but it was a quote that Dave Chappelle said to the cast of SNL the night that Donald Trump was inaugurated, and he had to go talk up, you know, about current events. That was Donald Trump being president.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he talked about how this is the time that artists need to rise. You know, we think about it. Artists speak
through our movement and
no, hold on. People speak through the artists. There we go. That's what it is.
Okay.
There it is. Yes, people. Artists come from everywhere. Artists come from every state, from every city, every nation, every country, everywhere. And artists, I feel like they capture everything within the neighborhood that they live in, within the city that they live in, within the state that they live in, or the situation even that they live in, and they express it. And so now within this time, you know, it's up for us as artists, whatever it is that you do, to come out and really, you know, it's time for us to be artists. It's time. How many amazing videos or murals or pictures or videos have you seen by people who you know, like, this is the time for us to step up and use our art. And to be honest, Black Lives Matter, everything that's going on within the COVID, Black Lives Matter, no matter what it is, like, it's being represented in a certain way through artists, you know, through videos, through pictures.
Yeah.
through even just Instagram, because that's an art as its own. To run an Instagram profile, that's something else, you know. But now is our time to rise up as artists,
Yeah.
you know, and use our voice.
Within the whole lot of ugly right now, we can sure use a lot of more beauty.
Yes,
So,
we can. Oh, look at that. See, that's what I'm talking about. Using your words. Use your words, Emeroy. Use them words.
quit your job, drop out of
Hashtag.
college.
Oh, okay. All right. Less words, Emeroy.
Yeah.
Emeroy isn't always right, but he has the right motive.
Heart's in the right place.
He doesn't always say the right thing.
What?
But he means
But
Means well.
his intentions are right. He means well.
I guess.
we kind of brought it up earlier, like, because I will admit, I feel like even 1% of half the jokes I say, I will get canceled. Like,
like we will cancel you.
no, every
1%,
like, people will attack.
0.5%.
Like, people will be like, anything because the only reason I say certain jokes with you guys is because we're friends. We have rapport. We've given each other permission to talk shit to each other. But if
Have we?
but Krystle, is it okay if I just to talk about that? Because I feel like cancel culture has become such a big thing. Like, are you guys for, against, or both about cancel culture?
Man, that's a big. I feel like you're asking like who we're gonna vote for. Although now it's like
I'm not asking about like.
But cancel culture. In the beginning, I was very for it because there were a lot of people who needed to be outed, and I feel like it's kind of falling into the category of the boy or the girl who cried wolf. You know, there are people who are being called out and canceled where it's so unnecessary, and it's taking light away from the people who really, really need to be called out. You know, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's the whole culture though, like the culture of
Following herd mentality and.
No. The culture of quick. We just talked about it. Like you wanted to get somewhere now. You want an answer. So it's like. Somebody said this. Oh no, cancel them now.
Yeah.
But
guilty
sometimes
until proven
figure out,
innocent.
like, wait a minute, what was the whole story? Like sometimes you watch a video and it'll show part of the video where you're like, wow, what an asshole. And then the first part of the video, the person like started the whole thing, but you don't see it. You just saw the cancel part where you're like, that person said this. I can't believe they said that. It's like, yeah, but nobody does the research. They're just kind of like, oh yeah, me too. Yeah, fuck that guy too. Yeah. And then, you know, you end up with that whole kind of, I just want to do it because I'm jumping on board, you know? So, I don't know.
There are some people out there that if you look, I'm a guy that comment scrolls. And if you look at some of the videos out there that are exposing people, if you look through the comments, the thing that is dope is there are a lot of people that were, well, let me get the whole video, you know?
Yeah.
What happened to the whole video? Let's hear the whole video before we start, like, going out and saying some shit. You know? Okay, that's it. Krystle.
I was going to say just the other week, I don't know if you guys saw it, but a video came out of a white woman and her husband who pulled a gun out on a black family.
There was two, no?
It was like they're outside by the car. Everyone was up in arms, like, oh my gosh, it happened again. But then the full video came out and it showed that the white woman bumped into a child, the woman of color's child, and arguments ensued, and the woman got in her car and the black woman was like, you're a racist, and the white woman, completely honest, was like, no, I'm not, and I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry for what you've had to go through. I support you. I'm here for you. And it was like, in that moment, it should have been dropped. You know, she's voicing herself, and it should have been dropped. And you saw that the family of color really just kept on attacking the other family, and that's what brought them to kind of try to protect themselves and bring the gun out. And at the end of it, luckily, you know, everybody was like, no. We, like, the family of color was at fault. Like, no one should bring out a gun, but we saw the full picture. And in the beginning, everybody was just trying to attack the white family off the bat. And that woman could have lost her job, and her husband could have lost his job, and everything could have been taken away. And, you know, so it was good that the full video came to surface. But, yeah.
Now, I mean, two things. No, go Brandon.
Okay.
Bored because at the same time,
you have these racist white people who will be like, oh, when we post videos of like police brutality, then they're like, well, what were they doing before? So then it kind of goes both ways, because they're like, well, maybe they were looking suspicious, so they should have gotten asked for the cops, or like, like, or maybe they did have a hairbrush that looked like a gun. I don't know. Like, so there's a lot of like yes and no on both sides. But again, it goes back to the whole do you do your research, or is it just kind of jumping on the hype train of just like, yeah, anybody who's white, F anybody who's white right now, like, I don't give a shit, everybody who's white, fuck off, like, or are you really just like, I don't care? Because I mean, for instance, look at Candace Owens. She ain't white, but she's real adding a lot of wood and gasoline to that fire. So again, you gotta do a little bit of research.
Yeah.
All right, cancel culture. Back to it.
Me, cancel culture. It depends. When we're talking about friends, personal people in our life, or people we just met, dating anyone or whatnot, just meeting people. To me, there's a fine line between I'll be there for you, but when me being there for you affects my mental health and my own way of thinking, then maybe we have to kind of cut some ties. But when it comes to like news and stuff like that, and you have to be able to get both sides of the story, because you cannot just judge it off based on what, like Brandon said, just like that clickbait. So you have to actually like the whole thing before you just be like, no, they're people of these white people did this, and then because we are in the moment right now fighting for Black Lives Matter, it doesn't mean that you also cancel everything that happened because you just see a short link of something that against people of color in the video. So yeah. So I do like to cancel people out.
My turn.
Go for it.
Here is my one sentence that I have
Mental
to
health.
say as far as this whole canceling community. Have your own fucking opinion, all right? That's it. If your friends want to cancel some shit and you ain't with it, don't cancel it. I've seen a lot of people on Instagram. Ooh, I'm not on Facebook, so I don't know what the fuck's going on Facebook. I don't have a Twitter. I don't know what's going on Twitter. I don't even know if Snapchat is a thing to be posting shit about this stuff. But
It's still a pretty big demographic.
I'm only
big.
using Facebook because my
it's still
family
used with
and best friends are back home.
But I'm saying, like, as far as
pretty
speaking
much
about, like, no one's gonna go on Snapchat and be like, Black Lives Matter. As far as I've seen, no one does that. But I'm mainly on Instagram, so I'm talking about Instagram. I've seen a lot of stories, like, people post on their stories just what everybody posts, and the reason I know that is because all my friends know each other, so I know as soon as one person posts, it's gonna pop up everywhere on my story, right? Now the thing is there's even I fell fault to it like once or twice. It's like I feel like you should research instead of just posting what everybody else is posting. If I feel like there was one time when I posted something about restaurant chains and who supports Trump and who doesn't, and then I got called out as like, this restaurant actually doesn't, the CEO did this, and then I was like, oh shit, my bad, and that was one of the few times where I didn't look it up, and that's the thing. It's just because you see it on your friend's feed and all your friends' feed doesn't mean that you look into it. Grasp your own opinion about it. That's the biggest thing.
I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, if you agree with it, cool. If you agree with it, cool. If you don't agree with it, don't post it. But that's pretty much it. It's just like, don't just post to post, because I felt fault to it several times. Like, I'm not perfect. I want to support nothing but the best, but sometimes I fall fault to it. There's always so much I can read and do. But there's a lot of people out there that are just posting to post and posting to post and posting to post. And then all of a sudden, when this, some people were saying it was a trend, and once this trend died, everybody's Instagram that was posting all these Black Matter, all this Breonna Taylor, all this stuff, it died out too. And that's another thing. That's another thing we gotta like, yo, are y'all really trying to make a difference, or y'all just trying to post so people don't unfollow you?
The hype train.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've seen it still going on my end, but my age gap is a little higher than yours. So luckily for me, I do still see a lot of the support. And
I don't know.
still- I still see
I'm
it too.
old.
Like,
I
yeah,
still see it.
like
That's
I
yeah.
still
because
see it.
we
I
are
mean-
in our 30s.
Cause yeah. See, you got. I'll say it. Like a lot of my followers are a lot of the younger ages. You know, I see a lot more TikTok videos on my stories than you guys do. I would say that.
Probably.
Probably,
And if we
right?
see it, it's a bit sad.
No, it's. Oh, I'm gonna go hop on TikTok in a bit, but like, I also feel like Gen Z is very politically active. That's what I'm
Gen
seeing.
Gen Z is either you're
agree.
all the fucking way in or you're not. Gen
Yeah.
Z is either diving into the pool or Gen Z is sitting outside.
Yeah, they're
There
the
is
ones,
no in between.
Like,
If
'cause-
you're in between, you're just dipping your foot in to test
That-
the waters.
because I did like a whole I watched did some market research on Gen Z, and they're they're badass. So we got
Gen
another
Z
10
fucking
minutes
shit
here.
up.
So like they'll take a fucking rubber bullet, come back the next day. Like they're the ones like not afraid to like step up. That because for me, if I fucking talk back to my mom,
Oh my God. I love it.
I'm sorry, mom. Oh,
Yeah, that was a
but-
young girl who like went
but-
off on her parents on video.
like
It went
Listen,
viral. I don't know
Mom.
if you guys saw it, but she like really stood up to her parents, and they were trying to say that Black people are thugs and all of that, and that she shouldn't even watch the news. And she was like in tears, and she held her ground. That poor girl is so young,
yeah,
but she, you could tell like she was
Yeah,
gonna go far.
they're the first generation to parent the parent.
And I think
Yeah.
that it's social media, having access to the internet so people can do their own research has been huge.
That's That's
You
You-
don't
you know
go
what?
off of what
That's-
no, please don't do that.
Yeah,
It's
no.
we're not just spoon fed what our parents teach us anymore. Yep, Diego.
Can I go ahead? I feel like the internet has helped mainly because it's like, all right, if someone think about the Me Too movement, somebody came
Mhm.
out, and then because of that and because of social media, somebody saw that and is like, whoa,
A
let
snowball
me
effect.
also let me also fucking tell my
It
story, and then so
definitely
on and so
helped-
on and so on and so on and
Yeah.
so on and so on.
Yeah,
And the thing is, like Emeroy said, Gen Z is the generation to parent the parent. I feel like it's because nowadays the thing, I'll be honest, like speaking back to my parents, like, or even like going against anything they thought, as far as within my house, I was like, oh, that's a little sketchy, but it's like, when this,
I might end up in the hospital.
hey man, hey, you don't fuck with that.
my house,
If-
my rules, kind of shit.
your
Yeah.
parents say one shit, but the thing is, like, now that we see all this, like, our people our ages speaking to people of within our parents' ages that have grown up through the same thing, whether they were immigrants or not, it does help. It does help within, like, well, they did it, let me go talk to my parents. And I'll say this, the talk was not that successful, but the fact is I did feel a lot comfortable doing it.
voicing
Mhm.
your opinion.
Yeah,
Me-
voicing my opinion against theirs.
Yeah.
What's up, Brandon?
So piggybacking off of that is very, very, very true, and it's helping. It's hurting, but it's helping, because think of it like your sore muscles, right? It hurts, but it's helping in the end if you massage it out a bit.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
when you're approaching these conversations, the first thing that happens is that your parents, your family, those hardcore Bible Belt Christians, like, have nothing to say back. When you're like, well, why do you do this and this and that? Don't you mean this? They're just like, well, you know what? All lives matter. And you're like,
They
That's not what
usually
I-
bring up another topic or another, like, sub.
yeah,
The whole
Yeah.
red herring effect.
They'll continue going down the list.
And then it's just like, okay, that's a fact, correct. But what I was asking was this, and they're like, well, you know what? And I'm just like, no, tell me what, and then so it's proving a point to yourself as kind of like, okay, I'm on the right side, because I very much so am all about, like, why do we do certain things? If there's a reason, let's do it. If we do it just because, why do we do it? Let's get rid of it.
Mhm.
Whether that's life, in your own life, whether it's your job, whether it's certain things that you do at your job, whether it's someone you're dating and you guys just do certain things. Like, why do you do that? So, in this culture right now, like, why do you feel that way? And I feel like right now, especially when it comes to like me being LGBT and brown and living in California and about BLM, like there's so many no. But it's like, okay, you could say no to me. That's fine. I don't have to make you say yes. But my question is why? And then, you know, when you get down to it, when you boil down to it, like for instance, there's a video of this girl who's like zero fucks given. She was talking about, she's a black girl, and she's like, look, you can't say Black Lives Matter, but be anti-trans or be anti-gay or bi. She's like, because if Black Lives Matter, then all Black Lives Matter, not like just the straight ones or just this. Is just like, so what it comes down to is you're a bigot. So just say what it is. Just say I'm a bigot and I only support straight Black lives. Like, you know, she's like, don't say that. You know, like, and but it's, I mean, it's like bold and it's very direct, but it is what it is. I mean, yeah, you can't say like, that's like the Christians, right? When the Christians are like, we love everybody except for the gays, except for the Jews, except for like, no, you can't.
That's not everybody.
Right? Then you don't love everybody. Like, just call it out. Just say what it is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna say one thing because this is about to end. One thing that we have to stop normalizing, and I feel like this is something that a lot of people need to hear, is we have to stop normalizing. Well, that's just how they are. I fucking, you know what? I fell victim to a couple of those people, but not anymore. But the thing is, like, that's just how they are. Let me tell you some shit. Yeah, no.
Like, in a general topic or like specific?
No, it's think about it. Okay, think about it. You have a dude, and he's at your work. You work at a restaurant, and he tends to tell the female servers like, "Oh my god, damn, your breasts look really good today." But he's just complimenting him. And no. Take no. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. This has happened before at restaurants that I've worked at, where male servers would be good. But that's the thing. I would go up to these servers and be like, "Well, why don't you just say something about it?" Well, that's just how they are. No, that's not what it should be. That's not what it should be. If something is bothering you, shouldn't you say something about it? Because this is your workplace. If something bothered you at home, would you not try and fix it? Because this is a place that you come to be at home. Exactly. You come to this place to work. So if something's bothering you, wouldn't you say something? That's just how they are. Should not be something we should normalize. No. That we should stop that shit.
I agree with that one.
2 minutes.
Let me just sing for you for 2 minutes.
Let's start wrapping it up here. I think we've done another hour and a half podcast. So, any last messages you guys want to share before we bounce out, ladies and gentlemen?
Take care of yourself. Self-care.
Yeah, go.
Resist.
Anybody else?
Go, Brandon.
My turn.
Go.
Always resist and persist.
I would say just stick true to yourself. Like we all have what we believe in, and we all have what we believe in is right. And sometimes we are wrong, and that's okay to be wrong. But there's nothing wrong with just fixing yourself. I was wrong about a lot of things within this Black Lives Matter. I'll tell you guys right now. In the beginning, I was an All Lives Matter person, and then crazy, huh? Crazy. But then I just started researching. I started learning. I'm like, all right, I kind of understand what this is about. I kind of see it now. And there's nothing wrong with that. I can admit that I used to say that because now I researched and I looked into it, and I bought books, and I saw videos, I saw documentaries.
Always learning. Keep learning.
My main point is have your own train of thought.
All right.
That's it.
Just stay positive, even though we have so much is going on right now. It's okay to not be okay. As long as after not being okay, you get yourself back up, wipe those tears, and do what you need to do. And that's it. Because that's all we have right now. That's all we have right now.
Take it away.
Just think positive.
All right, so that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Make sure you give everyone a follow. Make sure you hit like, subscribe, share with friends who you think might benefit from it. Give us a follow. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Love you guys. Peace. we'll see you guys soon. This is Temper Tantrums, throwing tantrums. Peace out. Be safe. Love you guys.